I think we're ready.
Cool.
Schmello. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Aero Talks with, obviously, your head of marketing, Mr. Luis Garcia from Aero Sports. I am here with Erik Alexander the Great. Man, that sounds like you're colonizing some people. But anyways,
Just speaking to my ego.
Erik Alexander, you are here,
Good
good sir. This is my friend. This is my coworker. This is, I guess you could say, the lead to my entrepreneurship and the founder of Aero Sports. So, hello, good sir. Erik, how are you doing on this Friday, man? What is up?
Mr. Luis, I'm doing well. Thank you.
That's good to hear. Our first topic today, for everyone that's on stream or in the YouTube comments, the first topic is literally just how are you, Erik? So, I want to check in on your day, dude. Any business operations you want to touch on before we get into, the whole thing? Anything that just out of the blue? Did anything surprise you on this specific day today?
I think every day having a startup, there's a lot of ups and downs. I think that one of the key things for me in doing this has been able to learn to manage those ups and downs.
For
'Cause I
sure.
think anybody that's at a startup is, I think Elon Musk said it pretty well. It's like chewing glass and staring into the abyss. Um,
Chewing glass, staring into the abyss. You know what? I mean, with my personal endeavors right now, with you, Mr. Erik, and with my previous past with Mavlo and everything with the community, starting something fresh is very scary. But let's start fresh and see. How did you get to Aero as a whole? So before we dive into all the details that is Aero Sports and what we're currently working on the platform, tell me right now, and I could definitely chime in. About the start. Like, what made you the businessman you are today? That's the first question. Shoot. Let me hear you.
I've always had sort of a knack for wanting to do my own thing.
For sure.
Even in high school, college, well, even this started in college.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an itch I need to scratch. So
I feel you
before
100% there. So. Mm-hmm.
before this we long time ago, man, maybe like 11, 12 years ago, we did music production stuff. So we used to do music events.
Okay.
Um,
You did tell me about this. You used to do
yep,
some EDM stuff within the
yeah,
university. Yeah.
EDM,
Touch on
EDM
it.
stuff. That was fun. It just wasn't my scene, so I stopped that. I mean, it was temporarily, and then um,
Yeah, you just moved on to bigger and better things or different
yeah,
things. But you
pretty
do
much.
basically like Erik doing the individual work, the entrepreneurship work. You like finding your own path and not being told what to do. You just like running with your
Well,
own thing.
I
I'm
think
assuming.
if you're being told what to do by the right person, it can be a very beneficial thing. In fact, that's one
I
of the
agree.
other things I've learned is to have people that are smarter than myself around me, which, luckily we have that with Era.
You're speaking truth right now. Let me chime in real
Yeah.
quick, Erik. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like just to fill everyone in personally, like when we'll start from the beginning. For me, Erik, I mean, growing up in a small farm town and being around people that really didn't have this ambition that is like esports, and it was just so foreign compared to whatever or everyone else was doing back in the 2000s, 2010s. It was kind of daunting for me to jump into this space, and then I'm talking about my pre esports career. Me and
Mm.
you met, and before that, I didn't really surround myself with anyone that was really affiliated with being really successful business career wise or really having entrepreneurship spirit. Before, I was just kind of following a mold that they tell you in university, which isn't a bad thing, and in school and your parents, but you really don't know the space unless you really jump into it, because I'm learning so much stuff day by day with you and Scott and Erik and Sterling that we interviewed last week. It's just been it's a whole different ball game that is kind of not shunned upon. I'm trying to find the right word. Just kind of not idolized. Entrepreneurship is always seen as a scary thing,
Well,
something that's very rare to happen, I guess, compared to
Yeah.
like the steady 9 to 5, get a job, which both avenues are great. I'm just saying that if you want to take a chance, like I'm 100% down for any individual watching to take a chance that is the entrepreneurship role. So, but yeah, didn't mean to go on a tangent, Eric. Keep going with everything post EDM, post the events
Well, I
around
mean, yeah,
university.
post EDM. So I left the EDM scene and I decided I wanted to kind of work with my hands a little bit. So I
Mm.
started a roofing company. Um, after a year of doing that, I'm like, I just can't do that.
You learn
You
quick that you
kind of,
don't want to do manual labor if
yeah,
it's extremely
not at all.
intensive. So,
Not at all. I thought the money would be decent. It was, but that was like the only reason.
hmm.
And that's not enough to sustain me personally. Gaming is
And to touch,
gaming is enough.
yeah, and to touch base on back to the entrepreneurship thing. I'll let you continue,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, you could do it for money, but I honestly, entrepreneurship was kind of born on like the passion of building a business that you want. But continue.
So
Post shingling.
so I decided I had more fun making our website for the roofing company than I did doing the actual roofing. So I decided I was like, why don't I go to school for web development, database design?
Okay, okay, keep going.
So I just Yeah, so I didn't want to do a 4-year college because I didn't want to spend the time doing generals.
For sure.
'Cause I didn't think it was necessary
Hmm.
for what I want, for whatever I ended up doing. I wanted to have, um, a specific skill set, and Dunwoody was perfect for that.
For sure.
2-year degree. It's like 2 years of programming boot camp. Um, so that was great, but it was in Dunwoody that I discovered I loved modding games.
For
Um,
sure.
So if you look at my Steam account and you look at my Arma hours, I think it's approaching 4,000.
That's
That's
crazy.
not Yeah, it's not all playing. Most of it's Probably half of it is modding.
Modding and
Maybe
being
a
involved
little.
with the community. I get that. I
Yeah,
get that from personal experience
yeah.
too, Eric. But
But
yeah, keep going.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's fun though. I wasn't even viewing that as a business. That was just I was having fun doing it. I could create anything I wanted on these Arma servers.
For sure.
Um, we hosted our own. I created game modes. I created like reskins of things. I kind of dabbled in a lot of stuff. And then the way that Aero was born is I started thinking about it. I'm like, I'm doing this. Like, this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
What can I build? So I built an app in Windows Forms, that I figured out how to connect to my Arma server.
For
And
sure.
when I was doing that, I discovered that the technology in esports was archaic. Like
You're
there
telling
was
me. So
it was
yeah.
terrible. It's still terrible.
It's
Um,
rough.
but
It's rough. We're getting better at it though, as everyone in the esports
it's
scene
a new
is working on
industry.
it. So yeah. But before you jump forward, Eric, I love where
Yeah,
we're heading, good sir. But talk more about the Arma 3 stuff because we can ramble real quick on pre-era before we jump into all that. But you were modding, you were playing hella hours. I mean, we're both nerds, we're both in love with esports, so hence why we're here. Duh. But
yeah,
yeah, so you were basically just kind of, and I mean this in a nice way, no lifing Arma for a hot
yeah.
minute,
No,
like
literally, I
during
was no
yeah yeah.
lifing. Yeah,
I mean,
no lifing.
I want to touch on that because me, Eric, you know me, like I was addicted and I still am a little bit to League of Legends. And before that, in my very young youth, I was playing a lot of Halo, Halo 3, Halo Reach, a whole bunch of custom games. People would play, Forge Maps, which is basically, the Xbox version of modding maps. Um, just matchmaking 24/7, trying to go pro, fall in love with the esports scene when I was like 12, 13 years old. But yeah, I'm just trying to correlate to you. You were literally living that life through Arma 3. So that's
Yeah,
insane.
while doing school, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's funny because we're talking with them now, and
Oh
I guess
yeah.
that
Yeah.
we'll talk about that down
We'll
the
definitely
road
jump
a
into
little bit.
that in this podcast for sure. But
Maybe, yeah.
we'll give people a little bit of a little taste of what's going on, obviously. But cool, Eric. So basically, let me wrap it back for us.
Mm.
You, you know, you went through an EDM, not EDM, but event phase that was focused around EDM concerts, like in the local area / a university. Was it university, correct, or was it high
No,
school?
no, just well, it was between high school and
Okay,
college.
okay, that makes sense. So after that, then you went to University of Dunwoody. You got into shingling or roofing. You learned that you didn't really like the manual labor side of things, so you wanted to do more digital because you were falling in love with working on the website for the roofing company. Correct?
Yeah.
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 So after that, were you basically set on Aero, or were there any other business ventures that led you to where we are today? So.
Business ventures that led me to where I am.
Yeah, just like what was in
Uh,
between like university and in between era. So era and university. What was like that? What was that like for you? I think you touched base with me a couple times actually. They used
well,
to
I,
work for
I
a
was
tech
I was
company. So
yeah, I was the database admin at a company that
okay,
collected one of 11 companies that collected federal student loans,
okay,
and that was interesting, I guess. Eye
interesting is a good
opening.
word. So
Yeah. Um, it was interesting seeing that sort of culture,
for sure,
um, because it's like I saw stuff that I wanted to replicate, but then I saw stuff that I didn't want to replicate.
I get that.
And I learned a ton about database. Um, it's kind of scary, actually, that that there's trillions of dollars in student loans, and um,
It's insane. It's
yeah.
insane. But that's what you were working in the field. You were working, with student
Yep.
loans and a data company for that sort. And you've lived, and it's good for the viewers slash everyone that's be watching because we want to be a little bit more business oriented slash give people the feel of who we are, Eric. Me as well, and then obviously our business ventures as well. So basically, why you said interesting because you didn't really see eye to eye with the work culture, correct? Work
No, I
culture.
said I said interesting for other reasons that I
Okay.
probably
Elaborate.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. You can
It was
elaborate if you'd like. So.
um well, it was just interesting learning how so I got in there and the database was just a mess.
I see.
Because the guy that had created it taught himself how to do it. So I spent about a month just documenting where everything went.
That's
And
insane.
once everything was documented, I discovered that there was discrepancies in the money, and that's why I say
That's
interesting.
that's no bueno. So basically,
No,
to touch back then, Eric, and we don't have to get too deep into this
yeah,
rabbit hole,
please, I
but
prefer not to.
well, yeah, no, I just wanted to touch base because I wanted to let everyone know
Yeah,
that you've experienced the work culture that one was wasn't ideal, and two you saw flaws or whatever. We don't have to go into
yeah.
that, but how did that shape you for your next adventure or aka era like business culture wise? What
Well,
what do you what do you like and what didn't you like is my
it's
question.
cemented it's cemented me wanting to do my own business.
Okay, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's how I guess that's the only piece that led into it, and I discovered that data is important. It's very important, and you need to always document it. You need to make sure you know where everything goes, so that other
Mm-hmm.
people can work on it. But other than that,
For
um,
sure.
nice people,
No, I get that.
long
No.
drive.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure, Eric. So yeah, I just want to touch base real quick on
Mhm.
everything else that you've been through pre-era, excuse me. And yeah, was there any other business ventures that you had post this data company, or did you basically just jump straight into Aero Sports?
No, just no, I can tell you how it started. Like I said, I built the first app in Windows Forms with my Armor server. It was just me messing around with it, and I'd put AI in to act as the players
Mm-hmm.
because it was easier getting 20, 30 AI to all fight for the control points than it was to find 20, 30 people at the time to
For
do
sure.
that. So um, I learned quite a bit about AI actually doing that too.
Fancy.
It's impressive. Yeah, I think there's a reason that I can't remember which military is utilizing Arma for their training, but
I, I've
there's a
heard
few that
I've heard
are.
just to jump down that rabbit hole. I have
Yeah,
a couple good friends in the military. They like actually served Army 4+ years or Marines, and they
there's a lot
said
of
that there
arrogance that.
was some mil sim or some simulations that were based off of Arma 3. Fun fact for everyone.
Yep.
So They actually use that in the military. Crazy. So
Yeah, I think it was like VBS Blue where they did whole Earth rendering, where you could do large scale warfare, which was crazy.
it's insane, and that's what
Um,
basically opened you up to, I guess, the world that is not esports,
well,
but the platform development.
I think if we want to speak more on Arma, the innovation that Bohemia Interactive displayed with Arma inspired me.
Okay.
Um, the thing, the other piece that really stuck out to me with Arma is the retention rate of the people that play it.
Ah, I
Um,
see. Mm-hmm.
so the crew of people that I played with in the past, they're still playing. They're still playing the same modes. In fact, there's two groups. One of them is called Bekti, and that
Okay.
was Capture the Island. It was a guy named Benny who created this mod called Capture the Island. Um, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I have all the server files still because we were hosting it for a little bit. On back when we were in the Google Cloud program, we were hosting that Arma server on Google.
For sure.
So
That's
yeah,
still. I mean, that's still. You know, super crazy because that speaks volumes, Eric. Just to connect it to
mm,
what we're eventually be talking about here is that, like I even am going back to MCC for Master Chief Collection for Halo. For those who know, just because I'm so in love and engulfed with one singular game. And to speak about what you're talking about is your crew, your friends from way back when that you probably still talk to today. They literally play this game because they're so passionate about the game, they're addicted, and they probably have thousands of hours plus within
yep,
Arma 3. Correct?
everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody's has over it's in the thousands.
It's insane. And I
Um,
mean, I'm talking about that, Eric, because this is the reality that we live in, right? People
mm,
are addicted to video games, whether it's casually or competitively, and it's a good thing because look at us. I have hundreds of friends through the gaming community. You have plenty of friends through the gaming community, and it's
well,
just ever growing within the
I
esports
think
world.
there's
So,
with everything there's a balance. I'd say if it's affecting your personal life,
oh, for
then it's
sure.
probably becoming an issue. But
Yeah, I'm not saying
um,
game 18 hours a day. That's a little. You
yeah,
don't got time for that, unless
yeah, I
you're
think
summer school or you're in summer and you're a student. So,
yeah,
only reason I recommend that, but in moderation, I would say.
yeah,
Gaming has connected so many lives within the past decades, I would say, and it just keeps growing to the point where we're forced to be unreckoned with. With the ad that we made and all the statistics that have been coming out recently via articles and posts. It's just we're a $1 billion company reaching a multi-billion-dollar not company industry, excuse me, multi-billion
oh,
dollar
yeah,
industry, which is absolutely insane. So I just want
yeah.
to touch base on that because all of us are still addicted to our video games to this day. So, to wrap it back real quick, Eric, you founded Aero because you've had all the insight and passion that was taken from Arma. You saw the future of what you wanted to do with Aero Sports from this game called Arma 3. Correct?
Correct.
Cool. It's awesome to hear. It's awesome to hear. Well, how did
Hey,
you? Oh, sorry. You can go.
no, you go. I was going to go off on a tangent that I actually did try and reach out to Bohemia. I talked to them briefly, and they don't have any interest in esports, but I had to give them my kudos at the continued updates.
For sure.
That they come out with like gigabyte updates every week. It seems like still, and it's a 10+ year old game.
People are
Um,
just addicted. Well, let me jump down the rabbit hole with you too.
yeah,
Halo right now, like everyone, with the current state of Halo Infinite, it's been a little rough to fill everyone in. And I'm bringing this up because one, I'm still affiliated with MNCS and Black Ice, and I'm still working with my kind of passion project that's Minnesota Halo, and Halo Infinite's been rough, dude. Really, really
yeah,
rough.
yeah.
And
We don't have to talk about Halo.
I would not have to go down the rabbit hole too deep, but I just want to say that there's still dedicated players to this day modding Halo 3 and just going off on the craziest things that you can see on Twitter, dude. It's
Yep.
insane, Eric. And the
That's what tells
passion's
you,
there.
a good, yeah, a good game combined with a good publisher and a good developer. It's just and boy, you need a lot of stuff.
You do.
You need to know your community first and foremost. Um,
I'm
I
jealous
think
of
I
the
guess
Fortnite community.
yeah, I'll give my take on the slow start to Halo. Halo hasn't been around for a while, so
True.
I think there are two mistakes where one, they released multiplayer broken before campaign. If anybody hasn't played the campaign, it is beautiful. It
We
is
do recommend playing
amazing.
Halo Infinite's campaign.
It's yeah. I wish it was just endless. Um, I would have a hard time finding another game to switch to.
Agreed.
Um, 'Cause that's just what I do. Like I'll play through a game and I every if I really like it, I will completely do like Cyberpunk. I I think I did 100% completion minus the graffiti on the walls.
You have been playing a lot of Cyberpunk. I remember we talked about this
Yeah,
like a couple months
I
ago. So
uninstalled Cyberpunk. Yeah, I uninstalled
you finish it
Cyberpunk.
and you're just like, I'm done. So
Yeah, that's what I do.
sounds about right. So yeah. Um, wow, we're really jumping around. But this is good though. I just wanted to have a casual
Yeah,
talk this Friday, Eric, with you, just enjoying ourselves and giving people a little bit of an insight of who we are. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, Eric, you invited me along. We'll get to that like around 2018, 2019. But before I jumped into this, you're the founder of Aero Sports. You were CEO. Now Scott, Scott is, but you're still the president founder of this company. So my question to you is, when did like you finalize that first prototype of the first platform that I've seen, that everyone's probably seen in our community slash, what we're developing from, to where we are now? Like, how did the
yeah.
road look? Like, I know that I joined in 2018, but before that, you said you've been working on this company for a couple of years. So, what
Yeah.
was it like just starting
How did
off the
how did
startup?
the road look?
Yeah,
It,
how's
it
the road
was
look?
it went from a dirt road to a gravel road, and I think we've got on some, we're on some pavement now.
I think we're finally on some
Um,
pavement.
I prefer the pavement. It'll be nice when we have some lines drawn on there, and you can see both directions.
You can turn
Um,
because we're just going straight.
well, no, you don't. You just as long as we have enough land, we just terrible joke.
We're building the road as we're driving forward. So.
So the first iteration of the platform was super clunky. It worked to the extent that I needed it to work.
For sure.
It wasn't going to be something I pushed out to people. It was just something I built for fun. Um, but like I said, the technology at the time was archaic. In fact, I think there's still people that do this. They require you to like take screenshots of your
Yeah.
scores,
There's
and I'm
still
like, oh
platforms like
my
that.
gosh,
Mm-hmm.
like what an easy way to get around faking a score is. It's easier to fake a screenshot than it is to go and inject some fake data in there that they're pulling.
Yeah.
Um, so we, so that's what I did. And I was like, what can I do next? Like I'm at the end of my development ability, um,
For sure.
because I tried to like I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at, and
Mm.
I try to know my limitations and that's proven very very helpful.
For
Um,
sure.
so I hit my limitations, and that's when I met Eric Berger, Eric B.
What year was this? If I can
Um,
ask real quick before we paint the
um,
picture.
when did I meet Eric B. or when did
Like,
I did he?
when was the first time you guys discussed about Era? What year was it, or what time frame was it?
I don't remember. Maybe 2017.
Okay, somewhere around that area. That's a good place to work
Yeah,
with.
2017.
Mm-hmm.
So he spent about a year teaching me how to write a patent,
Ah.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I
Eric
know all about
Berger
this.
is
You
he
can
is a
elaborate for the
genius.
stream, but I know all about this. So go on, Eric.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. So Eric Berger's a genius. He is, he's a board member at MIT, MIT's alumni, the research at Triangle Park Group.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he is a uh, patent attorney, not a litigator, but someone that actually writes patents.
For
So,
sure. Yeah.
everybody's it's not really a secret that software patents aren't super defensible. Luckily, we had Eric Berger, and he taught me how to go around that. So it's like I know exactly why they're not defensible. Um, and he taught me stuff that I never would have learned otherwise.
You learn a lot
You know,
about the
I,
patent world slash writing a patent
yeah,
and getting the legal, like, this is mine documentation out there for everyone that's watching. um,
Well, I
from
was just
Erik
doing.
Berger. So yeah,
Yeah, I was just doing. I was just working with what was right in front of me too at the
yeah.
time. Um, so I'm eternally grateful to him for doing that. He didn't need to spend all that time with me,
Mm-hmm.
but like literally spent a couple hours every week for like a year
It's
doing
crazy.
this. Yeah, and it
And
was.
I remember
It's
that
funny.
time vaguely because I was, well, I remember the ending of that time, Eric, because I first met you. We'll dive into that later, but I first met you at the Call of Duty event slash the meetup. But that's when you finally introduced me into everything. But keep going. You did the patents with Eric, Erik Berger, I should say.
Yeah,
Continue from there. You did it for a whole year, basically, for 2 hours a week. You just
yeah,
had
well,
all this
it's a
time with him.
hundred. Yeah, the first one is a 100-page patent. And that I wasn't really there. There wasn't an esports scene at the time. It was just Toby and me.
True.
Um,
True, true,
so
true.
that's why, yeah, nobody. It was just Toby and me, um, and then I remember, I think it was Rocker that came around, or Wisdom, or I can't remember. I think Wisdom was next, and then Rocker, and um,
To give you the
it's been fun.
timeline from my end, yeah. So basically, to tell the stream as well as everyone else, basically, one of the grandfathers of Minnesota esports is Mr. Erik Alexander himself of Aero Sports.
I wouldn't say esports has been around since like
Minnesota
forever.
esports, excuse me.
Yeah,
Minnesota
I don't know.
esports. Mr. Erik Alexander has kind of been around for the heyday, so to speak, as well as Toby from Shift Up Esports.
Yeah.
Um, it's just, and I just wanted to clarify that because you guys really were, from my view, my perspective as a young individual that just was obsessed with this game, obsessed with the esports industry. I saw you guys like, wow, these guys are actually making a movement in the Minnesota region. I'm not saying other people didn't look at it and say, oh, we need to get into this or we need to invest into the industry. People probably did do that. But
Well,
from my
you know,
eyes, you guys were definitely, the founders, not the founders, but the start of like the movement that is esports. Because in Minnesota, around that time, there was tournaments propping up, but there wasn't any dedicated, orgs. There were no dedicated sanctioned events or facilities. It was very, very young, Eric. And I just want to touch base on that and clarify for people for the background of what we're talking about here. But yeah, basically, I remember Wisdom came around, then Minnesota Rocker came around. That was kind of the timeline that we're talking about, Eric. So yeah, and now we're here today. But keep going. You were on the topic. I jumped on the rabbit hole. I apologize. So
it's okay. Um, I don't even remember what I was talking about.
we're talking about Toby, and we're talking about just the esports scene within the region. You said that there was no esports scene in the Minnesota area, and then you came along.
No, I mean it was in China. You could look. It's been over in Asia for a long time, so you can kind
Well,
of
yeah,
look at
but I meant in Minnesota.
there.
Excuse me. I just got to
Yeah, in
paraphrase.
Minnesota, yeah, I remember trying to talk to people, older business folk about esports like 5, 6 years ago, and it was like literally every single time I would say video games, and it's like eyes would glaze
Yeah,
over, or
yeah,
they'd just quit paying attention, and um,
for sure.
so I just kind of, I it's that's changed. Luckily, I think that's the good thing that Rocker coming about has done is everybody knows what it is now. And,
True.
um,
Branding is insane, and the work they've
yeah,
been putting in for the past 4 years, I think 2018 when they announced the Egan
mhm,
facility, they've been really grinding. So props to
yeah,
Dylan and
yeah,
everyone
they
else
have.
there at Rocker. But yeah, man, I mean, I know we've been jumping down the rabbit hole, and I'm so happy right now. We're just kind of chilling. But um, Eric, we were talking about your patents with Erik Berger. That's what we're talking about. So
Let's move on. So from there, I guess
yep,
what happened was, I met Sterling, and um, Sterling was, him being a former semi-pro gamer, CS:GO,
yep,
um, that sparked his interest, and we hired a dev shop. Um, so we that was another good experience. We built the second iteration of the platform, just League of Legends. League of Legends. Thankfully, we received API access from Riot
for sure.
to do all of the automation that we wanted to do. Because, like I said, the technology at the time was garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't there. I don't know why it was so behind, but
True.
I think those are the growing pains of a new
If
industry.
an
If
industry
you
is booming
don't,
so fast, true.
yeah,
That's probably one. So it's insane. So yeah, you met Sterling, got a dev team. Man, I just want to make sure I'm painting the picture for myself as well as everyone else.
yeah, no, you're good.
So you started with Arma. You're moving your way to developing, for personal use slash everything that was going on in university. Then you met Eric Berger. You learned how to do patents and whatnot. And then you met Sterling. He's an ex CS:GO CS player, Counter Strike. We just
Yep.
had him on the show last week. We talked about his beginnings as well. We have a couple snippets of that as well on our YouTube. But yeah, so after that, you guys started developing. You guys started getting the automation for the API or from the API tool that you got from Riot Games. And I think this is where I start coming in the picture. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I right, Eric? Am I missing anything before the
Yeah,
2018 push?
so there's um so Scott was I remember I don't remember where I met you for the first time. It was either I think it wasn't
It was the Call of Duty event. No, I met with you at the meetup, the meetup. But before that, I'll let you continue. So
yep, so that would have been December of 2019. So that was right before COVID.
that
Pretty sure I
was.
got yeah, pretty sure I got COVID at that event in 2019.
I'm
So
pretty
I
sure I
was
got
sick after.
the ick as well. Like right after the Player Up tournament at Mystic Lake, which I don't know if Toby was affiliated with, but that's when I met you and Toby was around the Mystic Lake
Yep.
event, the Rocker event, and the meetup. Like the meetup was a year ago, right? It was. It's so hard to remember all these dates, Eric, but
Yeah.
we
The meetup was December 2019.
that was okay. So then we met
Yeah,
then,
so it was right before COVID
but
became
then we met
visible.
at the event for the Rocker event because that was February, right? The first week of February, something like that, for the first major
Yeah.
that we had at the Armory. And then Mystic Lake was February 14th that year, 2020. And after that month, everything shut down and the world was what it is today. Well,
Yep.
better now. But yeah, that's insane. I just want to connect the dots for myself as well as everyone else because this is valuable intel, dude. You've been grinding
Yep.
for years. I joined, and I'm happy you took a chance with me, as well as all the work that we've been doing lately. It's been wonderful. Not to get too sappy, but
Yeah.
yeah, give me a little bit more insight on Scott. I didn't mean to cut you off earlier. So
You're good.
when you met him,
Scott, so I met him. His parents go to my church. Can't remember. I was doing something there, and I was wearing my Dev Fest T-shirt. And
awesome.
I think this was probably I actually met Scott I think in 2018. Um, so right, we got coffee and because he saw the Dev shirt and asked what I was doing. So I
Sure.
filled him in on what I was working on and thinking about, and um, he kind of kept tabs on Era and me over the next 3 years or so. I filled him in every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but his background meshed up perfectly with what we needed for a CEO. We had plenty of time to get to know each other. I learned about his background. It's like it's funny to me all of the parallels he has. Like how did we find a
How did
programmer that also worked in professional sports management
for sure?
that also worked on the Do Tour? So
Yeah,
well, that's part of professional sports management, but it's more than just athlete management. It's event management,
mm-hmm.
um, and he's a developer. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, Scott's had a wonderful educated background and business
Yep,
career, which we touched on, by the way, stream and the YouTubes.
yep,
We have to do some editing due to the audio issues that we had through our recording software, so I apologize about that. But I can't wait for you guys to meet Scott. But keep going, Eric. He had great parallels with us. He was a developer. He also worked with the Do Tour and did a lot of event management. And you just kind
yep.
of talked to him through your church, and then that's it. You just kept tabs on us, and
Yeah, we
actually
kept
join.
tabs, and then when I kind of reached my limitations to what I knew I was able to do as CEO, I realized that we needed like a seasoned executive in there
For
because
sure.
I do all right with a lot of stuff, but in terms of um, sort of the nitty gritty business details, he provides a lot of good insight. Um,
For sure. I
you know,
agree
then
100%. So,
the icing on the cake is the people we've met through him, um,
true. True, true, true.
which is hopefully we'll have one of them on here being interviewed. I won't I won't
We
yeah
don't
I
have to
will give
drop
it away.
names, but we plan on doing a good amount of
A
interviews
couple of
post
really really
stat.
really 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 big people.
We have some good ideas, and I think I know what you're talking about, which would be very
Yeah,
exciting for my personal gaming
you believe
liking.
it.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, like Scott, to fill everyone else in on my personal end, Eric as well as you, he's been a really good mentor for me. I've been learning so much from
Yep.
him as well as all you guys. Um, just having some kind of executive experience within the company has definitely elevated us, no pun intended, to where we are today. Because I feel like when I first joined, I was helping just in my free time when I was at university. I helped with some graphics or some content pieces that we're planning on doing, but I can never be fully on board. Now that we're here, it's just been. I feel like everything's been moving exponentially. Am I wrong or am I right, Eric? Because we've been moving at a very very
Yeah,
fast pace.
it's been a good uh it's been good lately.
For sure, for
Uh,
sure.
uh yeah, no, I'm happy with where we are right now, and I think I'm very very optimistic
I
about
am as well.
things we have lined up. So
We've been
yeah,
doing
I
good.
think the next couple of years are I think everybody that's listening is going to see a lot more of Era. Well, maybe they'll see more of Era.
They'll see
It's
a
a
lot more. They'll see a lot more of us. We got
it's a joke
some
when I said maybe. I was referring to something that
the what?
uh, something along the I don't know. We
Just scratch it.
Yeah, scratch it,
You're good.
scratch it. Lost my train of thought.
Um, no, you're good, Eric. What I was gonna say is I was gonna say that it looks like we painted all the pictures or the pieces, so to speak, which
Mhm.
was your start, which was the big thing I want to talk about, and then moving into Era, which we discussed how you met Eric Berger, how you met Sterling, and then you met Scott, and now I get to tell my story, so to speak, which I kind of did, but to clarify for everyone, I was in university. I met Eric through a meetup. It was a random meetup on Facebook. It was just advertising that I saw, so he caught me with his marketing pretty good. I saw him at his meetup event, met him for the first time, and I already knew Toby a little bit then because he was affiliated with GopherCon or everything that was going on with League of Legends currently in the Minnesota scene back in like 2018, 2017. So I met with Eric, finally talked to him at the meetup, and then we really got to talking around the Minnesota Rocker event that was that year before COVID. Me and you got to talking about the future of platforms and esports, and I kind of educated you on all the Optic Gang members and everyone else affiliated with the esports scene and the Call of Duty scene because I was so obsessed. Because we were right there with like Optic Hex, Eric. It was amazing. Sick. You remember this?
Yeah,
You remember this?
I still remember you take me taking your picture.
I have a couple
You were,
pictures. I still have that
I've
picture.
never seen you so giddy. It was like a child on Christmas morning. It was so cool, and that's when I realized with you that you you have the passion.
Yeah.
The passion is there.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I mean, I've been doing this, Eric. I've been in love with like this whole scene since I was like 12, 13 years old. And back then it was just kind of seen as an underground like professional gamer thing. But now we're to the point where it's rivaling the movie industry. We're becoming A-list influencers. It's absolutely insane. But for me, that was the influencer I wanted to see at that event, and I think you saw the passion that I had, hence started the spark of like what we both initially wanted, which was just esports to grow, and the passion for competitive gaming as a whole. So around that time, we had the Player Up event locally in Minnesota at the Mystic Lake Casino. I brought four of my league teams from Minnesota State University, Go Mavs, and you were just astonished, as happy that you saw all my lovely combatants in jerseys, because we literally fetched out jerseys for everyone that were very clean. I still got mine somewhere back there, but we just kind of kept talking, Eric, ever since that meetup until I would say the summer, and then ever since then I really came alive with Aero as a whole, and I started giving you guys more insight on the influencer scene. I remember doing affiliate marketing a little bit for you guys for some like lead content creators. I remember getting some numbers for us. I made a couple of 2D videos slash content for the page. We did, Instagram ads. So we've done all this stuff a little bit here and there until finally Luis comes on, me, January 24th or whatever. So I am finally fully on with everyone, and I appreciate you giving the opportunity, Eric. But yeah, that's literally the painting for everyone that needs to know. It was from the beginning till me, and I'm currently the current project. So current piece of the project.
Piece, Aero's motto from the get-go has been democratizing esports, and it's funny because even if you look at our IP, which was filed in like 2017 or 2018, I can't remember. I talk about that. So, democratizing esports. What I'm referring to that is how do we sort of level the playing field, because esports is different than normal sports. If the Minnesota Vikings were to play an amateur team, they'd smoke them. Any of them.
Talk about this today. I remember. Yep.
Yeah, the Browns a couple of years ago would have. What did they go, like 0-20 or something?
Nice joke. The 1-15 or 0-16.
Yeah, 1-15 or something crazy. Yeah. Esports is a little different. So the amateur players are just, some of them are right below pro. There's a lot of turnaround I've noticed in the pro scene. So my mission from the get-go has been, how do we get the power back into the hands of the players, the people that are playing?
For sure.
And that's where the automation comes in. Because, with the automation, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say. You're minimizing cost that someone else would otherwise be paid to do a job that can be automated.
True.
So that what we can do and what we are doing is, and continuing to expand on it, is diverting the funds that would otherwise go to someone else back to the player.
Yeah. Exactly what we're doing. So.
Yep. So that's the democratizing piece, and I think we have a lot of different facets to do that with. So yeah, I guess
that's the short, so to speak.
That's the short. Yeah, that's the high level overview.
The high level overview of what is Aero and the platform itself. But yeah, we're literally jumping to the next topic. So I switched the slide for us, Eric. This is probably our last slide. I think we can jump into maybe some fun questions, but I just want to touch on the last piece. We're already on it. Why do you think Aero is the next big thing? We believe in automation for the platform. We believe in giving more revenue back to the amateur scene / the general public player base.
I think we're one of the few companies that are owned by gamers, for one.
True.
So I think that, combining that, because that passion, as much as you try to hire people around you that can mimic that, unless you have the driving force behind it, unless they have that MO, which you still can, not being a gamer, but it's just a little different. It's like, I'd say it's building a foundation on bedrock as opposed to dirt or sand.
Yeah.
Because with us, we have an amazing team. We are so lucky to have the people that we do on our team.
Thank you. That means wonders, and to you as well, good sir.
Yeah. Thanks. But the next big thing is, we have the best minds in terms of development. We have the best minds in terms of sports management. We have the best minds in terms of business. So that's the other thing about I've learned my limitations, and I've I guess My the biggest thing that I can say has helped is learning my limitations and finding people that can circumvent those limitations.
The good old
Um,
one man army trick is what you're talking
yeah, the
about.
one man army trick it
That
can only
doesn't
go so
work.
far.
It doesn't. It only. It
Yeah,
starts success in a wonderful way. I mean, just look at me, with the Maverick Esports or the Mavlo community, at Minnesota State, Mankato. Um, it only went so far until I had to get other people to hire and help me with everything because it's not a fact of you can't do it. Of course you can do it, but you need a limited time. You need unlimited time to do everything you're trying to do. To
yep,
maximize on the time that you currently have, you hire people that can effectively and efficiently do the jobs that you aren't as skilled in. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've learned that
yeah,
myself, Eric. With all the video editing and the content creation I've been making, I'm pretty good. I don't mean to flex or anything. I'm just saying I'm pretty good at everything I do. I
yeah,
understand the concepts, but as we keep growing this company, we're gonna definitely need some help. And I'm 100% finally okay with saying that because for a while there it was a little I just want to
it
do
was tough.
everything, but one man
They
army
had to
trick doesn't
learn.
work. That's all we gotta say. So
You had to, that's what it's about. It's about
learn my
learning.
limitations, and I did.
Yeah.
So well, yeah, man. Wow, we're at 5 o'clock already, Eric. I mean, one, I appreciate the time, good sir. I
Yeah,
have a couple silly questions for you before we end all this, but
do it.
dude, we talked about it. We got through, everything, the start, how Aero started, your personal start, what we see for the future. We did a little snippet of that. Just to recap, everyone, we did it all, and we're happy you guys got to tune in to all the people watching right now. But Eric, favorite game right now? Any game you've been playing lately? I
Right
know.
now,
Yeah,
so I hopped into, so I just got Game Pass on the Xbox.
you did. We
Um,
talked about this. I remember.
yeah, so I haven't played console games in a long time. I'm mainly well, yeah, pretty much only PC. So I've been hopping into those. Um,
For sure.
the game, so Subnautica has been fun.
Ooh,
Um,
I've heard
I'm
good
not gonna
things.
spend. Well, I'm not. You asked what game I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
Like a couple days ago, I played that. My go-to right now though is TFT,
Heck
just because
yeah.
I can. Yeah, I can sit down and I can play a game. It's 30 minutes or so. Whereas League of Legends, it's like I don't have 45 minutes to commit to a game
If it gets to
at
that point,
the
it gets
moment.
to be like an hour. I
Yeah,
agree. So,
you
yeah.
I just
TFT.
finished up the Halo. Yeah,
Nice.
so I just finished up the Halo campaign. That was beautiful. That was very, very well made. Before that, I was doing a playthrough on Cyberpunk.
Yep.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I did the one. I think I did almost 100%. The only thing I didn't do was the graffiti. I liked it that much.
That's crazy.
Um,
I'm gonna need to try it because obviously on
yeah,
release, you know how the
yeah.
gaming scene's been recently, and
Well,
me and Sterling talked about it. But in general, everyone saw the game, it was hype, and then there's so many bugs. But they fixed it according to you, Eric. That's what you told
yeah,
me.
they did.
So
It's nice now.
I'm
It's
gonna have to
pretty
try it.
polished.
I'm really gonna have to try it.
Um,
So
if they were to open it up to multiplayer, that would be like the next. That would be amazing.
that'd be super
Um,
cool. So
yeah, I've heard rumors about it, but
awesome.
um,
I like
mhm.
it. TFT, Cyberpunk was previous. Subnautica, my roommate's playing it right now. He's absolutely addicted. So I've heard nothing but good things about it. Maybe I have to
If
dabble.
he's
But
addicted, here's the solution for that. Tell him to play in creative mode.
playing creative mode. Oh my
Play,
goodness.
play in creative mode because I made the mistake of starting in creative mode and now I have zero desire to actually play the game.
I'm gonna have to go yell at him
Don't
after
say
this call right now. But cool. We'll wrap it up here real quick. One last question, Eric. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I usually have like a lineup. With Sterling, I had like 7 questions just like bullet pointed before we did this. But I'm totally just off the cuff here, Eric. Let me think. I can't ask favorite esports team. We've been doing that every single call so far.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to answer that. I don't know what my favorite
You
esports
can't you
team is.
can't
There's like
affiliate yourself with a specific org
I mean, there's obviously all of the Minnesota teams I like.
for sure.
Totally support Torrent. Totally support version one.
And the
Yeah,
rockers crew and whatnot. I
Rocker. That's
agree.
what I mean by.
But let me just say, Eric, I'm noticing right now. I've been I've been kind of putting my allegiance away from a specific org because you don't want to be, you want to be open to everything
But it's
as
still,
the world that we work in. But I'm still a big fan of TSM, baby. Sorry. So,
I it's been good getting pro teams here in Minnesota. It's been very, very good for
it's
Minnesota.
been amazing. Absolutely
And
amazing to see. So,
for that I'm very grateful. Because it's kind of those pro teams have made our road a little bit smoother.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's fun to watch. Hopefully they grow into, uh, maybe in 10 years it'll be, instead of going to a Vikings game, we'll be going to a Rocker game or
That's the
something
plan.
like that.
That is the
Yeah.
plan, good sir. I agree. All
I
right,
tell you
last
what,
question.
I was at the Timberwolves game last night,
You did tell me you went to Timberwolves game. You did tell
and
me that.
it's yeah.
How was it?
Uh, it was nice when they were up by 26.
For sure.
Um, but I still can't quite understand how they lost that one. But it's Minnesota, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
unexpected.
Yeah. We'll have to touch base on that. But last question then, Eric. Would you rather be 10 years in the future? Would you rather go back a couple years? Go back 2 years or go 10 years in the future right now? Just for a quick peek of what it's going to look like.
Just for a quick peek, why would I go
Well, would you go
back?
back in time to change something that was very pivotal 2 years ago? Or would you rather go in 10 years and have a quick peek of what's going on?
That's a hard question.
One or the other. That's all you got to say.
I don't think I'd want to do either. I think 10 years, I wouldn't want to go. I have fun guessing what's going to happen because I've
It's very
discovered
fun.
I'm pretty good at it. So
Well,
it's like I think I have a decent idea. I think 20 years is easier to predict than 10 years.
that
Um,
is. You know what,
just
Eric? I'm going to stop
yeah,
you right there. That is a good
yeah,
answer. You would rather stay in the presence. Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
we appreciate the time. We are out for the evening, but you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you next week for another episode of Aero Talks. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis.